Welcome guys to the channel. Today we are going to be designing the professional dashboard of Facebook. Okay, and then we are going to be making it responsive as well. So basically we want to learn responsive design using a real website that we are going to design with you. Okay, so this is the professional dashboard of Facebook. This is how it looks, and then this is how it's going to look whenever you make it smaller. So we'll design this and then we'll make it responsive. So without much delay, then let's get started. So the first thing we are going to do is to bring out a frame, and then we select the frame tool. Then we go to desktop, and then we'll look for MacBook Pro 16. So it's the highest we can get, and then we go to we give it a guide basically. Okay, so we go to layout guide, and then we'll change it from grid to column, and then I'm going to make this customize this count like this. There is no definite rule in terms of the number of column that you're going to give, but for this case I'm going to try to give it something something 4. Okay, so the count I'm going to make it 4. Then for the margin, okay, the way to give it a margin is the margin is going to help us to make sure that no element exceeds the line or the margin we are going to give it, so that it's going to look nice. So what we'll do is to go back to the layout guide, and then go to margin, and then make it something like 52, something like this. Okay, this way nothing will go beyond this place, but I think 52 might be relatively too much based on what I'm seeing there, so I'm going to make it 32 for now. Okay, so then the next thing we are going to do is this gap here. I think 20 gap, the gutter there. Okay, the gutter is the gap between each of these columns. So and I think 20, the default 20 days, so it's okay. So I think we are done setting up the guide. The next thing is for us to begin to design. Okay, now the first thing I did here is to bring out this Iconify. It is a plugin that I highly recommend. In case if you don't have it, just go to this action button here, type Iconify, and then get it installed, and then let's get started. Okay, so the first place we are going to start from is this area, this menu, this navigation bar here. So I'm going to start from this area, and then build from that particular place basically. So what I'll do is to for the profile, the first thing I do is to bring a rectangle like this. So I'm holding shift while I'm drawing the rectangle, so it's going to be a perfect square. By so doing, when I now give it a rounded corner of about 100, it's going to be a perfect circle. So a lot of people don't get the reason we use a rectangle to form a circle instead of bringing a circle. Okay, I think the obvious reason there is that you can easily make this circle to become a rectangle, make it a square and all of that, but making it a circle means you have to stick with circle forever. Like let's say for some reason I decided to change my mind, and then I made this 10. Okay, you can see I'm still within this the square kind of stuff. Okay, but if I still want my circle, I increase the rounded corner there, and then yeah, just to have that flexibility of changing, between shapes. Right, so the next thing I do is to launch another this thing there. Okay, to just Unsplash, launch Unsplash plugin, just to bring a profile picture that we are going to be using for the design. Okay, basically you just click on portrait, and then you see thousands of portraits that you can make use of here. So I'm going to be using this. Okay, now. Then go back to Iconify, because we are going to be using this Iconify a lot. Then you can see this dot, this red dot, and then this chevron that is facing downward there. So I think that is the one we are going to be making now. By the way, this one, you make sure that the width and the height is 50, just to compensate the height there. Okay, then the next thing is to bring up a circle. Okay, for this one it's going to be something like this, and then I'm going to bring up a chevron like this. So you type chevron. Okay, so the next thing we do now is to, I think I'm not going to make use of this one. This one is okay, and I'm going to do something like this. For this, I'm going to make it 10 by 10. So you lock the height and the width, and then make it 10, and you place it somewhere here. I'll press I to pick this red color. The red color is not as bright as I want it, so I'll make it a little bit brighter. So it's going to spark from wherever it is. Then for this one, what I'm going to do now is to right click on it and then say frame selection. Now when I frame selection, I can now add Shift A to add auto layout and give it a 10 by 10 padding. And when I do that, I can now be able to give it a feel of white for now, and then give it a rounded corner of 100 just to make it a perfect circle. Then I'm going to switch the color by making the chevron white and making the background something black. Okay, so I'm going to pick this color that is here like this. Now you can see the chevron is too big to whatever I want to use this for, so I'm going to reduce the padding to 5. Okay, and then I'm going to scale it down as well. So basically you lock the height and the width, and then you reduce the height to something like 15. 15 is still that very much. I think 10 should be okay. So, but doing it like this from here is going to be way tedious to do. Okay, you can see the chevron icon is not scaling, just the auto layer that is scaling. So I'm going to undo that. So the best way you can do this to get it right is to while I'm still maintaining 5 by 5 padding, what I'm going to do is to select the scale tool. When you switch this guy from move to scale, you can now be able to scale this guy proportionally from here. What I'm going to do is to reduce it to 10, something like this. You can see everything just adjusted and fit perfectly. So the next thing I'll do is to click on this flip. You can see it just flip like that. So I'm going to position the chevron somewhere here, a little bit like 12, and for this dot, I think 10 is okay already. And then you can see that there is no this quarter that it's forming here is not there yet. So what we do is to go back to the move tool by pressing V, and we can see go and add it a stroke. When you add it a stroke, add it this background that is here, and then yeah, you take this one too, add it a stroke like this, and make sure it's this background that is here like this. So you position it exactly the way you want it, and then yeah, for me I think something like this is already okay. Yeah, and bring this one down a little bit more. Okay, so you select everything like this, and then press Ctrl G to group them like that, and then we are done with this. The next one is the notification, the message, and the menu. So basically bring those icons from here. So I'm going to bring message, and look for anyone. You must not get the icons exactly. Basically this is just for practice. Maybe on your own you can try to match up the icon exactly what Facebook have there, but we are not looking for perfection on the icon at the moment. Okay, but if you can, actually I think that would be very cool, because you are going to be using this on your portfolio, and then paying attention to detail. I think it's going to help you in terms of a potential client looking into your work. Form something like this is to select this guy. You can see the height is 24. All you just have to do is to press right click, select any of them, right click, and then frame selection. Sorry. Okay, when you frame selection, you can now press Shift A to add auto layout. When you add auto layout, give it a 5 by 5 padding for now, and then give it a hue of white, something like this. It's going to be white by default, but I'm going to just pick this color that is here and then change the icon to white, something like this, and then give it a rounded corner of 100. So I think you have to stick around to the end of the video so I can be able to explain to you why you have to frame selection before adding auto layout, because it's going to be very, very important for you to know why, and then for you to be using it often, because if you do not do it, your work is going to be messed up. In short, you just have to wait around, because I'm going to explain every detail step by step. All right, so now we have something like this here, and then I'm going to take this one like this without having to do everything there. I'll duplicate this one here, and then what you just have to do is to duplicate this one here, and then you select this guy, Control X. When you press Control X, you basically cut the element that is selected, and then you can now press Control Shift R to paste to replace there. Okay, now you can see I've changed the icon, but I'm afraid these icons are not the same, because this one is 24 while this one is 16 by 16. So you basically to select this guy here and then make it 16 by 16 like that. I think they are going to be okay. So you change the icon color to white, and then I think everything should be fine. Then the next one is to, okay, just take this one. You can see 16 by 16, and take this one. Which one are we using? Okay, this one, and then change the height. Make sure the width and the height is locked, so you change it to 16 like that, and then press Ctrl X, and you come here, select this guy, press Ctrl Shift R. When you press Ctrl Shift R, you basically paste to replace, basically. So you can now change, go to selection color and change the color to white, basically, and then you have it here. So now all you just have to do is to, okay, now when you select these guys and this guy, you press Shift A to add auto layout. Now you cannot be able to customize the gap between them like that. Okay, so now we have something like this. The next one is to come to this area, this middle here, and then see that we have I'm going to write home and see different icons that we can make use of here. So this is one I'm going to be making use of, and then I'm going to take this one out. So what I'm going to do here is to select everything like this and make sure that they are the same height. So when everything is selected, you unlock them like this, and then go to the width and the height and make them 24 by 24 like that. So everything is going to be 24 by 24 basically, and then we can now come here, you right click, you frame selection, you right click, and then frame selection, all of them. Yeah, just like this. So when you frame selection, the next thing you can do is to add the auto layers. Now this auto layers, why I'm adding it is basically not necessary at the moment, but in case if you want to prototype it so that whenever you hover on it, it's going to act like a normal button. Okay, I think it will be very important you add the auto layers. So I'm going to make it a 5 by 5, and then you come here, Shift A, 5 by 5. Okay, now some of you will be like, how am I Shift A? How do I get to click on once and then both the horizontal and the vertical padding get selected at the same time. Okay, I'm going to show you that now, so you'll be able to grab it. Okay, the idea is for you to be able to learn different techniques that will help you to achieve any particular effect that you want, fast and easy. I think that is what this channel is all about. So what you do is this: if you add Shift A and then add a layer to a button like this, you go to the horizontal padding and then you can see you just click once, right? Only the horizontal padding get clicked. So, but if you want to customize it individually, you can click here to go to the, the left horizontal, the right horizontal, something like that. But now, when you hold Control key and click on any of the sides, everywhere gets selected, and then you can just. This one is kind of cool whenever you want to give the same side, like you want to give each side the same number, the same padding, and then clicking each of them one after the other. I think it's going to be time taking, so knowing the shortcut to do all of them at once, I think that will be a time saver. All right, now the next we do here is to select everything here like this, like this, like this. Okay, and then just align them like this, and then Shift A to add auto layers, and then give them a gap of something 30 for now, and then you can see we've been able to form this area. If they need more gap, of course you can extend it to 50, and then you have it. Okay, so now we have the middle button, and the next one we are going to have here is this Facebook. So the first we do is to search basically. Yeah, so let's get search button. I'm going to use another plugin called the brand fetch. So when you use brand fetch, I think it's just going to bring the logo for me without having to do manual work. Yeah, so you just have to click on. You can search Facebook in case if you've not searched it before. Yeah, you can see we have something like this now. All you just have to do is to click and drag like this, and then you have it. Yeah, look at, I would have been struggling to get this one, but now I have it here. So I'm going to make it 24 basically, like this. Yeah, you can see. So there's no need of having to do manual work there. Then the next thing we do now is to select this guy, frame selection. Make sure you don't forget this, because don't always forget to frame your selection, and then press Shift A to add auto layout. And once you've done that, okay, something like this. Maybe we don't have to add any padding on this or add auto layout. I just frame selection, so I'm not going to add more auto layout now. So the next thing is to bring that our text to and then write search. We select this guy, these two people like this, Shift A to add auto layout, and then decrease the padding, the gap to something like 10, and yeah, basically for now. The next we are going to do is to make sure that the colors there is everything is white basically, and then take this one, and then okay, you can see that this guy is totally different. All right, the next we do is to, you can say this guy now, what we'll do is to give it a padding of 10 for now, maybe 5. Okay, I'm going to give it 5, and then give it a feel of maybe something a little bit dark, so I can be able to differentiate between the background and my text here. So we'll come back to it in order to match it exactly. Something like this is okay for now. And then for this one, I'm going to take it like this as well. Shift A to add auto layers on them, and then reduce the gap between them to something like 20 for now. Yeah, or maybe 10. I think the gap should be 10. So it's going to come closer. Now I've been able to gather all that we need on the nav bar, so it is now time to bring them together and then make them exactly the way they are supposed to be. So what I will do now is to select this guy. I've been able to group them with auto layout, you know what I mean. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do, I think these icons, they should grow bigger. So instead of 16, I'm going to make them 24. So it's going to be bigger than 24. Okay, hope you understood what I'm doing. And then 24 like this. Okay, so they're going to be bigger basically. So now you can see this one is in a group and this one is in a group, and yeah, basically this one is in a group. So I'll select 3 of the groups like that and then shift A to add auto layout. Now I'm going to bring them here. So the first thing I do on this particular frame is to change the color. So change the feel to the feel of this background here, so that as I'm working, I'm going to see that whatever I'm doing is coming to life. So the next thing here is to take this one and then give it a padding of 10 by 10. Okay, if 10 is too much, you will adjust it later. So when I give it 10, and then I will give it a feel and then make it this color that is here, and take this one here like this, and then make sure you go to selection color and then change it to white like that. Now what I'm going to do now is to extend this guy like this to this area and then to the ending here, and use the alignment button to align to the top. So when you align to the top, you can see everything is not distributed very well, and all that we just have to do is to come here to the distribution, to the gap, and then set it to auto, and everything is just going to adjust like that. But you can see our gap here, sorry, our margin that we set earlier is our element is going beyond that. So what do? We go to this place. Remember the margin that we set it to 32, right? So all that we just have to do now is to come here to the horizontal padding of this guy and then set it to 32, and then it's going to adjust. Every side will automatically adjust to fit in perfectly like that. Okay, for this logo, I think you need to grow bigger. So I'm going to go to the scale tool like this and then set it to something like I don't know, let's just experiment. So yeah, just set it to 50, so to see how it's doing there. So I'm going to make it 40, not for it to get too big. Yeah, I think basically whatever I have here now is kind of cool to me. So yeah, apart from this group, so I'm going to go to the selection tool there and then make this gap to something like 70, the gap between these guys 70 or 100. Yeah, just to space them out a little bit more, so it's going to be cool with just like their own basically. Yeah, you can see we have 70 there. Then the next we can do is that my own color is too bright, so is there any way I can control the brightness there? Yeah, there's a way we can control the brightness, but we should have used color though to do that. But since you're not the one choosing the brown color, all we just have to do is to come here to selection color, reduce the opacity to something like 50, and then get darker like that. Or maybe if 50 is too much, you can increase it to 70, or you know what to do. Okay, then for this guy, you can see we have this dude here. I want to show you something. If we come here to this guy, we make this color white, right? This one is white. So all that we just have to do now is to set this guy to the background color, that is the fill color of this guy. It's like this, the white exactly as well. And then we are going to increase the rounded corner to something like 100, so that both end is going to be perfectly round. And then you're going to reduce the opacity to something like 10. And once you do that, you can see we now have something like this. Okay, if it's too much, like yeah, the one I'm seeing now seems like it's too much, like the icon is getting bigger and all of that. So I'm going to reduce this to 15 and reduce the icon as well to something like 15 as well. So you can see that problem I have earlier. So all you just have to do is to go to the scale tool and reduce everything here to 15. So it's going to be nice. Now the next we do is to go to this selection to make sure everything is aligned, and then make it 5, the gap to be 5. And yeah, what we can now do is to go to the padding here, individual padding, and then set this guy like this, just to extend this padding according to the way it is right here. Okay, so basically just extend it like that. Okay, but I think the padding should be increased a little bit more. That is the horizontal and the vertical padding. So I'm going to set this guy to 10. Yeah, something like this. I think this will be okay. Then the color here is too bright, so what I will do is to I'm going to make this guy 30. Okay, sorry, 20. 20 is too much. Let's I'm trying to control the gap here, so I make it 15, and then reduce the brightness of this color here. So you just go to the fill like this. Okay, go to selection color and then reduce the brightness to something like 50. Yeah, something like that, and then you have it. Okay, we'll cross check and see if what we are having is what we need. Okay, so then now the next place is the gap between here and the top edge there. A lot of people get confused, and then what is the gap between this guy and this guy? Basically, there's no science. Most times what I do is to launch the prototype, that is launch the preview, and then use the preview to know the best gap that is going to be there. So if I launch the presentation like this and then wait for it to get organized, so I'll show you how we can be able to set it up. So it's going to be nice there. I think this one needs to be extended more, so I'll come here and then make it 70 or maybe 80, basically, just to get that line out, push it out a little bit more. Okay, if it's too white, you can reduce the opacity of the fill, of the background fill, yeah, to something 5. Yeah, so and then we have it. So you can also press Shift G to remove the guide, just to see your progress, to make sure that you are on the right page, something like that. And then the next we Shift G again to bring the guide out. Now we can now go to the presentation and see if it's nice. Yeah, I think it's nice. If your own is not like this, just make sure you go to this settings here and then make sure it's actual size, or maybe you can just set it to fit width in case if it's behaving weird. Yeah, fit width, and then we have it like this now. I think it's okay. Maybe, yeah. But we'll make use of it. Okay, so the next we'll do is to see that there's a stroke right here. Yeah, so to add that stroke, we'll come here and then we'll go to stroke, and then we make it white, the stroke to be white. Now you can see the stroke is all sides, which is what we don't want. Okay, anytime this guy is always coming up, all you just have to do is to click on these settings and then click on hide UI, so it should not always be distracting us. Okay, now for this stroke, we just want it to be on one side. All you just have to do is to click on this individual stroke and then set it to be bottom, and that is just what you need. So we'll reduce the opacity of the stroke color to something like 20, just to control the brightness there, and then we are done. Yeah, just like that. So you can see it now. Okay, so the next we are going to do is to this menu basically. So I think, yeah, let's just get started. All we need is to see the icons that is there. We're not going to be getting the all the icons. from we are set the standard for everyone. So here I'm going to look for home again, and this one is going to be fill home. So let me just look for something close to that. Fill home. I think I have this one here. I'm going to be making of this one. I don't know if that is right, but I think that should be okay for now. So now I've been able to get all the tools that I need. So the next now I'm going to do here is to look at this guy, this dude here. So the first thing I do, make sure that is 24 basically. That is the height that we are using. So all you just have to do now is to select this guy, right click, and then frame selection. Don't forget that. And then you basically add your padding now, shift A to add auto layout, and then give it 5 by 5 padding like this. And then we are going to make it blue. So pick this color here and then select the color that is select. I'm using selection color to change the colors, okay, and then I'm going to give it a rounded corner of 100. So there's no reason I give it 100 though, just that with 100 everything will be completely round, okay. There's no need of guessing if it's already perfect circle or not. Okay, so now I have something like this, and then the next one I'm going to do is to bring the type to as well and just write home like this, and I'm going to make it semi-bold like this, okay, and select this guy, shift A to add auto layout. Okay, I think semi-bold is too much, let's make it medium. So make sure the gap is somewhere around 10. Yeah, so now I'm going to do something again, okay. I think I'm going to do it here so you understand. I'm going to bring up chevron again. So something like this should be okay. Now what I'm going to do here is this. Can you see we have a big background right here? So what we can do there is to obviously we can construct that background from here, but life is going to be complicated for us if we did like that. So let's duplicate this one here and then select this guy, make sure it's 24, press Ctrl X and select this home and double click to select the home itself, and then press Ctrl Shift R, okay, something like that, and then change the selection color to white like that, and then change the background again so white as well, the white like this. Then reduce the opacity of the white to something like 10, that is the opacity of the background to something like 10, and then change this whatever that is here, have inside like this, okay. Now we have this one here. All we can now do is to make sure it's 24, yeah, 24, and select this guy, Ctrl X, and select this auto layout here and press Ctrl V to paste it inside, and then use this selection this rotation tool to rotate like this, and then basically make it white, make the selection color white. Okay, what you've done now is that if you increase the spacing between them, all side will just increase like that, right? Okay, but now we want this one to be increased, not all this side, okay. And that is where this one comes in. You select this one and this one, and then add shift A, that is auto layout, on these two, so that now when you select the main auto layout and increase the gap, it's only this one that gets increased. But if you want to increase it, so you have to select it individually, right? Increase like that. Okay, so I hope you get the point. Now all we can now do is to see that we have this one here. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and all I cannot do now is to select this guy here, Control X. Okay, I don't want to confuse you with whatever I want to do now, so I think let's just stick to the basic there. We have this one here, and we have this one here. So basically you select, all you just have to do is to select these icons and change them individually like this. So we have content, Control X, make sure it's 24. Yes, 24. Put the height and the width 24, and then press Control X and come here, Control Shift R to paste to replace, and then change the color here to white. You do this the same to the rest. Duplicate this one, and then select this guy here, press Control X and select this one here like this range, and then press Control Shift R to paste and replace there. Yeah, basically. Now what we have is something like this. All we can now do is to select all of them like this, and then select everything like this. You press Shift A to add auto layouts. Okay, make it vertical, auto layout, and make it hog like this, and then select this one here, Control X, select this one as well, Control V. So you make sure it's aligned, and take this one, make sure it's set to hog as well. So you can see everything is now perfectly aligned. But we are going to rename them. Basically you have content and something like that. So this is content. I want to show you something. Whenever you hold Control key, let's say I want to duplicate this text, just this text, but now I have to double click multiple times before I can be able to get through the text. So all you just have to do to select something, no matter how far it is to hold Control key and then click on it like this, and you can have duplicate, and then you write professional dashboard. Now select this like this, and then press Shift A to add another auto layout like that. So I will reduce the cap to something like 20, and increase the padding. I will increase the text to something like bold, and click on this auto width. Yeah, to make sure that the text doesn't break for now. And select the main auto layout and set it to hog, so that it's going to be cool right there. Now what we cannot do on this guy, on this particular one, let's first of all see it in the background like this. Now we have it here, and looking at this guy here. So what we cannot do is to select these dudes and then add auto padding, add horizontal and vertical padding of 20, and then give it a feel. So give it a feel, and then I'll make it this color here like that. Now I think we are getting there. So the next one is to select this particular one here, and just select all of them like this. To select all of them, when the auto layer holding them is selected, you press enter and you get them all selected. So go to the horizontal, the width, and then set it to fill container. And when you set it to fill container, then set the gap between them to auto. When you do that, you can see that all this chevron now will now be adjusted, especially now if you set this guy like this. Now this is going to be very helpful when it comes to the responsiveness that we are talking about. You can see only this guy is moving like this now. Okay, so but if you observe very well, you can see that the chevron is not in all, is only in inside and engagement, so other one should be equal. So what we do here is to take this guy, remove it like this, and when you remove it, yeah, we have it's not on monetization, and I'm going to remove it like that, and it's not on content. I'll also remove it like that. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is to select those layers here like this, yeah, this one that you all you just have to do now is to double click here, and then everything will be aligned left like that, which is pretty cool. So the next thing is to see that all that we are doing now just have to last within here like this. Okay, and like this. Okay, but I think getting to this extent is not quite cool, but it's going to start from here for now. So what I'm going to do is to select this guy, increase it to something 25 or 30, just to give it that boldness that it deserves, or maybe I'll make it 25, yeah, and make sure that this guy is set to hog, and then yeah, basically, and then select this guy and give it a gap of 20 in between, and set this particular one here, this guy, these guys, yeah, all of them like this. So I'll give them a gap of 10 by 10. So when you do that, you can see they now have enough space. Now if you give this guy a fill and you make it black, like this color that is here, you see it has that color very well like that. The next we can do is to select them like this, so I'm holding shift to select them all, and then give them a rounded corner of 10. So why I'm doing this to all of them is it's not going to be obvious, except this this one that is highlighted is in case if you want to prototype that whenever you hover, you click, you know, it's going to be very much easy instead of you having to do everything one after the other, which is not much cool. Yeah, so now the next thing I'm going to do is first you select this main auto layout here, you reduce the okay, I'm going to reduce the padding on the left to something like 10. I don't know if that is right, but I think yeah, 20, that 20 by 20 is okay. Now the next is this guy, the padding I think is too much. I'll make it 10. Let's see. Yeah, now this particular one here, I want you to notice something. If we extend this guy like this, you can see it's not extending. This auto is very far from Genesis. Look at where it is here, but in our own side it's following out. So all we just have to do now is to select it out like this, Control X to cut it out, and then select this one, Control V to put it outside this particular auto layout now. So when you put it outside, it's now computing height with this guy here. So all we just have to do is to select this one and this one. You press Shift A, yeah, and then select this one now and go to the gap and set it to auto. Once you do that, you can now be able to control the gap. Anytime you extend this guy, you can see that particular one gets extended like that. That will be very helpful once it comes to the responsiveness. So now if you watch here, you see we have this stroke going through. So all we just have to do now is to select this guy here, move it up like this basically, or you can select both of them like this, and then make sure you do not go beyond the margin here. You select both of them, go to this gap, the space in there, make sure it's 0, and then select this guy, give it another stroke. Yes, we'll give it, sorry, the stroke and then make it white, and then go to the individual stroke and set it to the right, and then reduce the brightness to something like 20. Okay, so we are going to make it the same thing we did to this one. If you click on this, you can see that the stroke is 20. Yeah, the brightness of the stroke is 20 and the width of the stroke is 1. So the same thing here. So once you set it right, it's going to look very much identical. So if you go to the preview of for design, yeah, you can see we are actually getting there. This is pretty cool. This is nice. Yeah, basically. So we can keep extending this one as much as we want if that is what you want, but I think extending it too much is not it's not in our best interest, basically. So but I think making it right is what we need to do here. You can see we are getting it right. Yeah, okay, so we are done with the menu. Okay, so the next one is going to be this area, and then this area. So the first thing we do here is to look at what is involved, and then we'll begin to build from there. So what we'll do is to just let's begin from here, and then we'll build from there, basically. So we have this guy. I'm going to search I and see the best eye we can get. We have need eye, that is, so I have this eye here, and then I'll build from here, basically. So I'll duplicate this text here. I hold Ctrl key and click on the text and duplicate it, so just for me not to keep. So I have insert here as the title, and I'm going to writing some of these texts again and again and again. I think it's going to be very tedious. So what I've done now is I've of course, obviously this is a screenshot, so I've opened it in photo view. And so if you're using Windows 11 and above, so when you come here to this photo view, to this photos here, so you can just click on this icon here, and all the text that you can be able to identify will be selectable. Yeah, and then you can highlight them and copy. You don't have to keep writing because it's one of those things that keep designers in check. Yeah, writing text, especially the one that you're writing from another place, it's going to be very, very tedious. Yeah, so that is it. The next we do now is to we have this inside, and then we click on learn how your profile is performing, basically. So I copy, Ctrl C, and then I go to Figma. All right, so all I just have to do now is to select here, and then press Ctrl Shift V to fix the text here, and then select this guy, change it to bold. Yeah, and then select this guy and set it to I think regular. You can reduce this setting to given it to not in our best interest. So you select both of them like this, and then add a layer Shift A and reduce the gap to 5 for now, or 3. Then I'm going to select this guy now, duplicate, and yeah, so I will change whatever we are seeing there, just for the sake of this video. We have to try as much as we can to make it short, so it's not going to take forever. So I'm going to change views, and click there to shorten it, and then duplicate and set it to I think 6. Yeah, some of you guys you might have more than this inside, like the inside might be very, very big. So apologies for using It's a small one. So, or maybe you can just help me out by following me on social media basically, so I'll have more views. Okay. So type notice here to get this icon here, this particular one, and then you flip it. Okay, and then yeah, we'll come back to it. So for this, it's going to be, what is the size of this? This is 15, so this icon is going to be obviously 15. So I'll use the sketch tool and make it 15, and select the two of them, and then press auto layout. Yeah, give them a gap of 10, and make sure you set to hug for now, like that. And for this and this, shift A to add auto layout. Now to form this line, we are going to use the pen to do that. You press like this. Okay, I just hold shift so that it's going to be a perfect circle. Press escape, press enter, and then go to the end point, and then make it this arrow here, and then you can flip if you've done the opposite. Press Ctrl X to cut, and then press Ctrl V to paste. Now use the arrow key to come to the center like this, and then make sure the height is set to fill, so that it's going to fill up the right there. And then you can now select this guy and this one, shift A, take them to be 0, and you set them to be hug. Okay, and you can see it's green color there, so we'll go to selection color, and then we'll pick this green color here, and then green color. Yeah, basically you can make it brighter, you know, something of that kind, basically something like this. But this is not the best now, so I'm 10. Yeah, so we'll take this guy and then set the gap there to 20 or 10 as well. I think 20 should be fine. And then we have these two, and then we have this guy like this. So basically this one and this one, shift A, yeah, and the gap is going to be 10, which is, if or maybe 5, something like this. Okay, maybe this one is going to be 10. Okay, so now we have something like this. I'm going to give them a padding of 10, but the horizontal is going to be 20, and it's going to set to hug. Yeah, basically. And then yeah, well, I think we'll begin to repair from here. So the next I'm going to do is to duplicate this guy like this. Okay, I might not have to begin to change all of this, but I think you get the point. So we have this like this. Okay, so I'm going to set the 3 of them like this, like this. Okay, shift A, and then to be in 1. Okay, then we have this last 28 days, something like that. So I'm going to duplicate this guy, just duplicate this text here, and type, look for chevron again. This chevron is going to be fill. You can see that type of chevron there, so we look for that type here and see if you can get it here. I think something like this is nice already. Cool. So I will basically make it 15 or 10. Yeah, 15 should be fine. And then go to selection color and make sure it's white, and select this guy, shift A, and make sure the gap is something like 2. Yeah, and so I'm going to give them padding of 5. 5 minus enough, but we'll manage that. Okay, let's make it 10 for now. Okay, so I'm going to give it a fill. It's going to be white, right? And then I'll reduce the opacity of the white to something like 20. So that's maybe 10. Okay, so it's going to be darker. Then the gap should be somewhere 5 or 10. That is the rounded corner. Then I'm going to duplicate this guy like this and say CR like this, and I'll change it to semi-bold and basically pick this color here. Now if we begin to measure, now we can see we have this. So I'm going to select this guy, shift A to add a layer there, right? And then we have these two, shift A to add another auto layer. Okay, I want you to begin to count how we are getting it up to that stage. And then for this one, okay, now for you to see what is going on here, you can see we have this individual stuff here. So I'm going to select them individually like that, and then add them a fill, add them a stroke, and then make sure the stroke is white, and reduce the opacity of the white to something 20, and make sure the rounded corner is somewhere 20. Yeah, something like that should be fine. Now if you select like this now and select on this guy, you can now press shift A to add out layers. Now watch, if you take this one here, I'm going to set it to fill container like this, and then if I press enter, the individual layer there is going to be selected, right? And then you select fill container again. Now when you do that, you can see they will not be distributed evenly, and then they will have this gap here, because if you select this guy, you come here, you can see that the gap is 37. So if you make it 20, which I'm going to do, yeah, now they have 20. Now but they are not as much as I want, so I'll press enter and give them more padding at the top. So basically I'll make them 15 and there. So and then I will select like this and then make them to go to the top basically. So the gap there is 80, which is not pretty cool. So I think 20 should be fine. Now we have something like this. Okay, maybe the rounded corner is too much. We can reduce it to 15. Yeah, just the rounded corner here. And for this one, you can see the color we added here. So when a particular section is selected, it's going to have this color. So I will now select it and go here like this and see that the field is white. So I'll make it 100%. But I'll also make it, I'll change the color there to this color code. Yeah, so it's going to align with this. But if that color code is not giving me the vibe, I can increase the brightness of that color code there. But you must make sure it's the same thing here. So it's not going to be different. Yeah, I think once you're in a darker background, you're going to see that color pop out very well. Then the next thing is this one here. I'm going to show you how you can construct this, but before then, yeah, let's deal with that one. So we're done with this, and then okay, all I do is to come here, select this guy, press enter, click and hold shift to make it a straight line like this, and press enter like that. Okay, and then I will just hold Ctrl key, click here, and then duplicate this text here. Okay, you can see we have 300 as the highest. All right, 300, and then change from bold to somewhere medium here. Click on auto width to fit the frame perfectly, and then press. I'm going to add auto layout on that, and then align horizontally, and then align center. Okay, and make sure it's set to hug. So this one should be somewhere here. Sorry about that. Okay, this 300 should be here, like that. And there's so much gap on them apart from 5. Yeah. Okay, so this guy is going to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to make the width 2, and it's going to be white. Okay, because if it is white, I can control the brightness also. Okay, I think 10 should be fine. Okay, now I will not duplicate this guy like this. Yes, and shift A to add another auto layer. So how many lines do we have? 1, 2, 3. So 2, 0, 100, 200. So have 3. Is it 4? Control D. Okay, so we can now, you can see I'm holding Control key to click here and write 0, and click here and write 100, and here to write 200. Sorry, 200 like this, and then we have this, so I'm going to control it with 20, something like this, and then yeah, basically. So the next thing is August 7. You understand what I mean? So we have something like this here. So I'm going to write August 7 AUG and 7. So I'll make it a little bit bold. Okay, so we have something like this now. So I'll duplicate this and select them all, shift A, and now we can now select and duplicate. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. So I don't know how much, I mean, I have to, but I'm going to make this guy auto. So when you make them auto, you cannot be just done like this. Yeah. Now for these guys, you can see they are not the same height, right? We select the line, hold shift like this, and then we are going to come here and set it to fill container. But I think they are not very cool right now, because this one is 300 and this one is, you know, something like that, and this one is 100, but this one is 0. So what we can do is to, when you come here, okay, I will right click and then say frame selection. In our frame selection, okay, so I can come here, Ctrl C, and come here, Ctrl Shift R to paste to replace. And since this one is inside a frame right now, if I write 0, it will still be, yeah, what it is there. Okay, so you can see we have it perfectly aligned like that. Now we have this one, and then we have this one. Okay, you can go ahead and begin to change the letters to reflect what you have, but I think that is not the subject of the day. So I will press Shift A to add another auto layout on this, so I can now control the gap between them to 10, like that, or maybe 15. So it's going to come down a little bit more, like this. Okay, if this one is just standing too much, you can come here to the individual part and then make this one something like 30, so it's going to come inside more. You get, yeah, so it doesn't extend more than the way it should, just like here. So the next one is this line here. There's no way of getting it. There's a way of generating a graph though, but generating something that has to be exact sometimes is very tedious. So I advise you construct them in some cases. So, but there are some plugins out there that can generate a graph for you. So I'm going to click here and click here. You click here like this. Okay, so sometimes you can just eyeball it and then make your own graph exactly how you want it to be. Like this graph is way boring, so I can just try to add my own steps. So I'm going to press escape and then press enter. So once I do that, I can now be able to bring out this line like this. Okay, so the next thing we can do now is to give it the color that we have used earlier, like this color that is here. So I'll copy this color code, Ctrl C, and then come here and press Ctrl V to paste the color code there. Now the next thing we can do is this. I want you to see that there's a line here, and then maybe to form that line very well, let me show you something. If you select this guy and press enter, you still go back to the path mode, and then you'll be able to adjust some of this line as much as you want. So let me select this line like this and adjust like this and adjust like this. Okay, something like this. So I press enter. Now if I give a fill on this right now, it's going to look weird. So what we'll do is to, let me show you something because it's very important. So if you have something like this right now, okay, what we can do is to press enter, then select the pen tool to join this line like this. Okay, and join it like this. You press enter. Now if you give it a fill, it's going to close up like this, which is what we want. But now I'm going to take this one and remove the fill. So what we'll do here is to select this guy. So we are going to have two. One is going to be the fill that has to come like this, and the second is going to be the stroke that has to be very obvious. So the way to do that is to come here. As we have it here, we are going to duplicate another one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and press Shift X to flip. And then on this one, I'm going to make the color lighter now, or maybe I'll change it to gradient. And on this gradient, I'm going to rotate like this. Okay, something like this, and make sure it's aligned perfectly. And then I'll reduce the color to 0. You get? And then I will reduce this one to 15, so that it's going to be nice like that. Okay, now if I move this guy, you can see one is affected, one is giving the gradient, but the other one still has the stroke, which means if I select both of them like this and then press Ctrl G to group them, now we have something like this here. So press Ctrl X to cut, and then select this auto layer that we have here like this, and then press Ctrl V to paste. Now when you press Ctrl V, it's forming its own line. Okay, now what we do is to extend these guys to reach to the end as much as you want, and then extend this one like this. So the next we do is to give it a auto layer. When you know auto layers, yeah, you can now be able to align them like this. Okay, make sure you don't tell anyone about what you just did. Okay, but I think it's basically the way it's going to be very much better. Okay, that we have done it. Yeah. Okay, I'm just basically trying to adjust these things to fit in exactly the way it should, but we are having some issues now. Okay, and that is because if you if I should select this guy now, you realize that we are having this hash line here, right? Okay, if this is not what we want, so what we do is to select this guy, this particular one here, the one that has that stroke. So if you double click, you can actually go inside. Remember, if you put control, you'll be able to select the one you want, right? So this is the one, this is not the one we want. We want the one that has the stroke. So easier way, just when you click on the group, you can see you have these two groups. This one is one that has the fill, the gradient fill, while this one is one that has the stroke. So what you can do on this stroke is to also give it a gradient. So when we give it a gradient, we can rotate the gradient like this, right? Okay, so we rotate the gradient to be here. We can adjust these guys to be exactly how you want it to be. Now what we want here is that we don't want this one to have this line here, so we'll make it black and then we'll make it 0. Some of you might want to know why I made it black first, and that is because I just want to make it black. Okay, or maybe when you make it black and reduce the transparency to 0, I think it's going to be much easier to disappear than making it another color. Another thing you can do is to give it the same color that is you have, like this time now you can see that in this place now it's beginning to translate to black. So what you can do is to give it the same color as the top side. Okay, now if you increase it back to 100, you can see we are beginning to have that line again. But now if you make it 0, that line will disappear. So now we have something like this. Okay, so I hope you get the point now. So all that we cannot do is to select these guys like this. If it's too much, you can reduce them like this. Okay, if you reduce, you take this one here, you set it to fill container, so it will automatically be reducing as well. And then anytime you reduce, you just have to come to this group and set it back physically, because now since it's in GNU auto layout, you cannot be able to be adjusting automatically. Alright, so now we have something like this. You set, you click here, basically, yeah, we adjust, and then we select this auto layout and this one, Shift A. When you do that, you can see they are now inside one frame like that. You adjust them, select this guy, fill container, so that it will be adjusted perfectly, and this guy you set it to auto, so that it will be adjusted automatically. And now we need to give them a padding and a fill. So if you select now and then add a fill, and this fill, you select this dark area that we have here. Yeah, you can see some things are very bright, some things are not. All we just have to do is to select this guy, give them a padding of 20 by 20, yeah, and then give them a rounded corner of 20, yeah, and then select this one, the slope, and then adjust like this. Make sure it doesn't go past this guy here. Why we keep adjusting this guy every time is because we set it to ignore auto layers, and there's no way to be able to stay there without it being ignore auto layers. So just keep adjusting it every time we are making adjustments. So we can now click here. If we want this guy to adjust very well, we can try to match it up with whatever we have here, which is very close, very close. But I think we can make use of it like this. All we cannot do is to control the brightness of some of the things that we have there. Okay, like I think if I select this guy, everything that is black should be white. Yeah, and here I'm going to adjust again everything. Yeah, and this guy, yes. So pressing, when you want to select, you hold shift and double click like this. Sorry, hold shift, double click to select the group that you want. So I can reduce these guys to something like 50 just to make them darker. I think 50 is too much. Let's just 70. Okay, then for the line, everything here that is white, yeah, we should get to 50 just for them not to have many brightness. Okay, like the brightness should not be as much, so I think 30 should be fine. And now we have a professional looking insight table. So for this guy, I think I'm going to increase this one to 20. Yeah, just to make it stand out more. And then the gap there, it should be 5. Okay, and the opacity of the fill, it should be 50. Yeah, or maybe 70, so that it's going to stand out a little bit more. Cool. So now we have a professional looking dashboard. So you can basically start changing these numbers or changing this icon. I believe you can do that. If you cannot, let me know. Maybe we will try to change it next time, because we are going to be designing some other cool stuff there. Yeah. So I want to adjust this guy like this. Okay, so we have this one here, and then we basically adjust it to design another one. Okay, I hope you get the point. So if it's not looking like this, you try as much as you can, because we try to make it look professional, look nice, look cool. At the same time, you can change these numbers: August 7, August 8, August 9, September 1st. That's where we stop. Yeah. Okay, so for this one, I think it's going to be much easier. What you do, you can try to learn to be able to use what you have already to grow from there, you know. So like this one, I think I don't need this chart, but I will definitely need this one. Remember, I already opened this guy here, so all I just have to do is to click here now and copy, and then go back to Figma and select this one. Now I want to paste and let it inherit the property of that to there, so I'll press Control Shift V, and then no, you press auto width, so that it's going to be aligned very well like that. Now this date, I don't need it anymore, so what I will do is to select this dude here and remove it basically. So we're going to have something like this. And for this one, yeah, I'm going to align to the top there, so it's going to look like this. What else do we need there? we just need an image, and then we need these people here. So let's see how we are going to make that happen. We just need views, we just need interaction, and then yeah, 2 views, 0 interaction, 0 net follower. So for this one, we are going to remove everything here basically. So what you do is to select and press Ctrl backspace to remove the auto layout. You press Ctrl backspace. Yeah, remember the one I'm removing the auto layout. Ctrl backspace. Now we can now select these ones and this one and remove. So views, we have interactions, and then we have net follower. Yeah, okay, so now we can begin to change the icon basically. Okay, but now all we can now do is to select this guy. Now press Ctrl Alt C to copy the property of that auto layout, and then press Ctrl Alt V. Now I want to change that this thing that we did here. Yeah, so I just want everything that is here to be, you know, transferred over to the other side, which is easier. Okay, and then for this one, I think all I can do is to duplicate this guy. Now look at what we are going to do. If I duplicate this guy, Ctrl D, I can now take this guy here and press Shift X basically to flip. And now when I select that, I can now go and launch Unsplash, basically add any image that I want. So let's say I want to add like interior, okay. Just something abstract like this. Let it look like the post. So I don't need any of this icon here like this, so I'm going to remove them. Okay, now how do we begin to use this to form this? Okay, now what you need to know is that the view, this one and this one are together now. Okay, and this one is outside. Okay, so we have 1 2 3. So this one is going to be together. Shift A. Now I just made them together. Okay, now this one and this one, so this one now is together in one group, but this one and this one is also going to be together. So select this one, Shift A, and now make it vertical. Now we have it like this, which is pretty cool. So all we can now do is to select this one to fill container and set this one to hog, or maybe you can reduce it like this. Yeah, we give it. We just have it here basically. Okay, you can see these ones are now fill, they are no longer stroke. I think the stroke look very professional like this, but let's stick with what they have. All we can now do is to select this guy and then press Shift X to flip, and then I will still reduce this guy to 10 like that, the brightness there, and then Shift X is basically to flip. Like you can see, we have in this place now, we have no fill, but we have stroke. So when you press Shift X, is basically to switch, to swap. That is, let the stroke be the fill and let the fill be the stroke basically. So Shift X like that, and then select both of them, and then you take the opacity of the fill to 10, just to make it darker like that. If the gap there is too much, you can reduce it here. So like the gap between these two is too much, so make it 10, and the gap between these two is too much. I'll make it 10 as well, like that. Okay, if the gap here is also too much, you know what to do. Okay, yeah, I think we just have it. And sorry about that. I think doing all that now is going to be much easier. Basically it's just to duplicate and then duplicate. Now I cannot be able to use this one now. So what I'll do is to select this one, shift A, and you know, bring it to my own design like this. Okay, and I'm going to reduce the gap to something 10 or maybe 20. Should be okay. Now I have this. Yeah, basically I think mine is way too long, so I'm going to reduce that. Like the extension is too much basically, so I'm going to reduce that. Remember how we need to be adjusting this guy every time. Maybe we'll find solution to this so that our responsiveness is going to be cool. So now we have something like this. I'm going to align it to the center and then bring it to the top. So we have monetization, Control Shift V. Yeah, I'll press this on Control X and Control Shift V, and take this one and delete. Yeah, so what you do here is basically to, I think you get it. So we just have two lines here, so which means I'll press Control. If I select the layer, Control backspace. Yeah, so we can now remove this one here and select this one, press Control backspace again. Yes, and then we now have that one there like that, and we just need to take this one away. Cool. So basically you change the icon, and then this one, Control D. So we'll extend this one more a little bit. So here we just have two engagement, and I'm going to take this one, Control C, and come here, and I'll hold Control and press Control V here. Now all I just have to do is to right select from here, Control X, and work from here and select this on Control V, Control Shift V to paste it like that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and we have engagement 66, 166 comments, you know, a day in office. I think we just have a thumbnail and a recent comment. So all we can do here is to duplicate this guy, Control D, and make it like this. This one is going to be a thumbnail of, so I'll press Control backspace and select this one, make it to be hog, something like this, and this one is also going to be hog, or maybe, yeah, let's set it to hog for now. Now what we do here is to set this guy, Control C, and I'm going to take it here, Control Shift R to paste and replace, and then I'm going to reduce the height to something like 65 by 65, so it's going to be a square. And yeah, I will duplicate this one now and write a day. Yeah, I think this is a title of the content. A day in office, and then we have shift A, and then we have align and align, and I'm going to reduce it to 10, and I will still make it to be something like this, and the gap should be 5 here. So you know that stuff written there. So a day in office, okay, the dates. So a day in office is going to be bold, and Control D, the dates. Shift A, the dates and the title. Shift A, then align vertical like this. Cool. So this one is going to be the comments, the recent comments. Backspace there to remove this icon, and I'll duplicate this one, Control D, and take this one, then like this. Now I will select this one as well, Shift A, right, and then horizontal, and align like this. Okay, you can see I formed it, and it's nice. So we even have the photo of the person commenting, so which you can also do just by duplicating this guy out, so like this. And now I can now take this one to be 100 and reduce this side to be 30, and select this one, Shift A, and build it up like this, and I'm going to make it 10 or 5, and then view the gap here now, 30. So I can begin to add more, you know, add this like, subscribe, you know, hide, through receipt, yeah, just to make it look nice there. So if you look at this, you can begin to see that wow, our design is fine, it's looking very cool. Now we need to differentiate that this guy has to be sticky and this one has to be sticky. So to do that, we just have to come here, tell this one here, select this guy, go to prototype and say, go to overflow, go to position and say I want you to be fixed, or you can say sticky, yeah, but let's say fixed. And then this one we want it to be fixed. So in a correct way, this one is going to be sticky because you need to remain at the top, while this one is going to be fixed, yeah. So now if you go back here, you can now see that we can scroll this one up, the nav bars and the menus are sticky like this. Okay, yeah, I love the look of this, is looking very nice. Okay, so I think we can proceed to the next. Yeah, so the next one is going to be this area, just profile statue. This one is going to be very quick. To get this kind of icon, we need to still launch Iconify. So this one, we'll take this profile here, and then we'll duplicate it here like this. And then we are going to remember we had a group. Whoa, be careful, go out of the prototype. So this is more like a verification badge there. So all we do now is to take this dot out. Let's make it 7. Yeah. And maybe 6. Control X and select this guy. Control Shift R and then change it to white and change the fill here, the fill, so this green like that. So we have Franklin tomorrow, and then profile has no issues, learn more, blah blah blah. You get? Okay, so what we do now is to take this guy like this. So I'll take this one and delete. So remember what they did. I want to use what you have here to continue from there, since you already have something similar. So I just copied and then paste there. I'm going to remove the feed there. So come here and say 0. Pardon. So you come here. You can see I've already done this. Ctrl C and Ctrl Shift V. Okay, I think this one needs to be 100% bright. Profile has no issue. Learn more. So we have this one here. Ctrl Shift V. And this one I'm going to Ctrl X and Ctrl D and Ctrl Shift V. Okay, like this. And this one, so this learn more, and this one Shift A, and it's going to be horizontal, and this one is going to be this color here because it's a link. So I'll copy that color code then and come here and paste the color code here. Basically, yeah. So now we have something like this. We'll take this one, Shift A. Okay, now I'm going to increase this guy. Okay, increase it to 15 just to make it a little bit bigger. Now we have this one up here. The next one is your profile. Okay, we have profile status as a title. So profile status, I'm going to make it 20 and make it bold. So I'll set both of them, Shift A, align top left, and the gap should be 10. And this one It's going to be auto width. I think this bold is too much. Semi-bold should be fine, and the gap should be 20. Okay, so the next section is this one. So inside your profile tools, so you have link account, then and so on and so forth. So I will quickly fill this stuff. Okay, I think let me do one so we can be able to follow along. So we have linked account, engagement, Control C. So here, Control Shift V, and I'm going to take this like this. Control X and Control Shift V, and this one has no place here now. And for the icon, I'm going to search link. Okay, so we have link. I'll use this icon here and take this one. Okay, so I just want to use the format that I've used there to form this icon. Okay, so I'll press Ctrl X and Ctrl Shift R, then make the color there to be white, or maybe not 100% white. Then I'm going to hide the fill so it will look like this. Now I can now press Ctrl X and press this guy, Ctrl Shift R to paste to replace, then move it to the top, increase it. You can come here and say, or maybe, yeah, what I can do is to go to this scale tool and increase it to be 50, or maybe 50 is too much. I think 30, 40. Yeah, this should be fine like that. So select V, top left, like this. Now I can now be able to Control D to duplicate, and we have profile recommendations and the sub text here. Control C, come here, Control Shift P, and you just have to take this one here, Control X, Control Shift V, and U. So okay, so I think I will quickly do the rest, and then you can, I believe you can follow along. So you can basically change the icons so that they will reflect. Now I can now take this one, Ctrl X and Ctrl V, move it to the top and align like this, and then I'll give it a padding of 20 by 20 and I'll give it a fill like this, and yeah, that is basically it. Okay, so now I can now be able to, you can see it's not adjusting. All you just have to do is to select this guy, this guy, this guy, and set it to fill container and press enter to go inside and still say fill container. But make sure you don't do it like that. Take this one. Okay, let's go one after the other so you know what is going on. So take this one, take it to fill container. Okay, it's already filled. And then this one, fill container. This one here, fill container. And this one, fill container. And this one, fill container. So where after you've done it very well, if you adjust these guys like this, I think they are going to begin to adjust now, but this one is not, and that's because this one is not set to fill container. Okay, and I think this text is broken and it doesn't want to fill container, so let it fill now. And the title as well, this title, they should be fill container like that, so that and this one too is going to be fill, and this one is going to be fill. Much on here at the moment, so you can find the icon to begin to replace these guys. Okay, so which is not really necessary at the moment. Okay, so I'm trying to adjust these guys just to make them nice. Okay, I think I would have loved these ones to be a little bit darker. They are not dark in the picture, but for my design they need to 70, just for them not to compete. I think they look more better like that. So I'm going to drag them in here, and yeah, make something like this. Now give them a rounded corner of 20, and now we have it something like this. And then we have something like this. We'll give you some time to reflect. Cool. Yeah, this should be aligned. Okay, so we'll quickly design the remaining and then we now go to the rest. Now that we are done building our site, okay, I wanted to explain, I told you earlier that I'm going to show you why it is important you use you add a frame to this before you add in auto layers. That is, you add a frame to your icons before adding auto layers on it. Okay, this is quite very much important, and that's why there is a need for me to show you. So now I want to build a quick navigation bar for an app, and then we are going to build it in two ways. One with the process that I want to show you, and then the normal ways that other people do use, especially beginners. So what I'm going to do here is to this is the home button and all of that. Okay, you understand what this means? Now I've created a quick navigation bar for an app. So if you look at this place now, look at this and this. Okay, in short, the video is getting too long, so what I can help to do here is that look at these two and say which one is better and which one is good and which one is bad. Okay, if you're able to spot this error, I think it's a sign that you're a pro. And okay, if you're able to spot this error, it's a sign that you are a pro. These are some of the reasons a potential client might see your work and reject it, and then you don't know why. These are some of the errors that are necessary. But let me give you a clue. If you watch now, this guy now, watch. If you select this guy, you see that the width is 40 and the height is 40. But let's select this one. Okay, can you see the width is 38 and the height is 38? Maybe sometimes some of these things might be very obvious and sometimes it will not. Okay, like this one, the differences are not much, and that's why you might not necessarily notice them visually. You can see this one is 37.99 by 37.99, but watch this ones now. If I select this guy, you can see the height and the width 44, and this one height and width 44. The same thing here, the same thing here. Can you see how uniform they look? But watch this one, and the way it is done is something like this. Let's say I selected, I had a button like this. So this one now, if let's say I use home for this. Okay, so if I duplicate this one, you see that what I did on this one was just to frame selection first, like this, and add a layer Shift A and add a padding like this, 10 by 10, and give it a fill and make the fill something like this. Okay, make the fill something like this. Okay, this one, what I just did is to just press Shift A without framing selection. Okay, and then I give now if you notice very well, now you can see that this one is now 4 by 3 automatically, because it's trying to balance it with, and once you give them a uniform pattern like this, like 10 for instance, and you give it a fill, okay, now can you see what you are having here? If you select this guy, now you can see the width is 34 and the height is the width is 36 and the height is 37, meaning that it's not even a square. But watch this one. Okay, so this is the extent I can go here. Going deeper and deeper will prolong the video, and it won't be very fun anymore to watch. So I think the idea is you keep following my tutorials. I think in the next one I'm going to go more deeper in something like this or something similar, so that you don't get to make some of these errors that you might think is not quite necessary. But these are the ways clients judge your work in terms of attention to details, in terms of consistency, and all other principles that are necessary you keep to your designs. So last time we've been able to design this. Now we can now be able to make it responsive. Okay, I did not design all of this with you because I believe if you've been able to follow all from here, I believe you can be able to design this. Okay, this shouldn't be much problem for you, although I'm going to leave the design file so you can be able to follow along in case you just want to learn the responsiveness. So this is the stage we are going to learn the responsiveness now. Okay, so now all we just have to do is to bring up our design. So this is our design here, And what I'm going to do is to duplicate this and bring it like this place. Okay, what to do now, for the responsiveness, we will take something like this. All we just have to do now is to make them responsive basically. So because now if I resize this frame like this, it's no longer, they are not responsive. Okay, so how do we make them responsive? So the first we do is to select this guy and make sure that these ones are responsive. Okay, now you can see they are not everything is responding, so we have to fix that. The first thing is to begin from here. If you resize this one, you can see that this chart is not responding, and that's because when we are creating it, I made it ignore auto layouts. Okay, so for this man to work now, we have to remove it from ignore auto layout and then find a way to fix it in. So what we'll do is to select this guy like this. Okay, and remove it from ignore auto layout, and when we do that, it will not create a space of its own. So what we'll do is to come here, we'll take this something like this, and then we frame selection. Now when we frame selection, we can now add it totally as Shift A like this. Okay, we are not going to do anything now. Another thing we'll do is to select it like this and select this one here and press Shift A to add them auto layout. When we do that now, we cannot take this one to be something like minus. So when we make it minus, you can see it's going beyond. Why we added auto layout earlier on is that now we can now select the same auto layout and then shift the padding like this, so that this guy can go all the way to this extent. We can also set this man to fill container like this, so that whenever it begins to adjust, it will be fine. Then we can now take this one and move it to the bottom. Just use the arrow key and move it to the bottom. Now you can see we have our design ready, so there's nothing else to do. And the next we do is to take everything that is here and then make it fill container and fill container. Yeah, this one is fill container. And if you should select this guy and extend like this. Okay, is this extending? It's not. So what we'll do is to select this guy, this one. Okay, now if you click here and set, you can see this one, the main chart is not set to fill container, so we'll set it to fill container like this. And when we set it to fill container, it's not reaching this end, and that is because this one has a padding of 36. So we want this padding to be, if we remove this padding now here, you see that it's getting to this number, right? So what we'll do is to expand this padding and go to the individual padding and set it to let me set this one to 40. Okay, I think 40 is too much. 36. Okay, or maybe 30. Okay, 30 is fine. You can see 30 is set to this side, but 30 is not set to this side, so that it will be able to get to the extreme there. Now if you resize this guy, and I can see, yeah, our chart is resizing, which is cool. Now we'll set this one to this text to fill container as well. So this one fill container like this. So the next one is this one here. We'll set you can see everything fills, but this one does not fill. So we'll set this guy to fill container, this text here. I think basically this one fill container, and the text itself should be fill container. Okay, so this one, the same thing. I think let's try this one out first. Yeah, you can see everything is resizing now, which is pretty cool. So this one too, the same thing. The totally at your free container, and the text itself should be free container. So basically, so we'll set this one free container, and the text here free container and free container like this. Okay, so if there's any other thing here, I think that is pretty much okay. Now, depending on how you want them to respond, that will determine how the way you are going to set some of these auto layouts behaviors. So for this one, if you set it like this, okay, I think this one is already responsive. Most of the things here are already responsive, so which is what you can go with, but this one is not. So what I'll do is to set this guy, this one, what I'll do is to set it to wrap. So when I set it to wrap, what it will do now is that if I reach here, it will automatically break like that. Yeah, so that is that area. So if I select like this, you can see it will adjust like that. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do now is this. If I'm going to select this and this, and then shift A to add a auto layout, and then so that if I resize like this, okay, you can see nothing is responding now. What I'll do is to select this one and fill container, and select this one and fill container. So now if I resize like this, they will all resize. Okay, but now you can see this one is extending beyond the way it should, and again the gap here, the gap is too much, so the gap there should be 30, and this guy is extending too much. So what we'll do is to select this one and extend it like so. Okay, now if we look at this place now, you can see this one resized to a very high extent that we don't want. What we would do now is this. We are going to take this guy, when it begins to reach, I can see it's no longer cool. So what we'll say is this: whenever it reaches here, it should not be able to resize anymore. So what we'll do now is to select this guy and say, okay, you know what, you can resize yourself to as much as you want, but whenever it gets here, I want you to have a minimum weight. That means use this current size that you are now, don't resize yourself smaller than this. So I will say set to current size. Now what it will now do is that it can be able to adapt to this side as much as I want, but when I begin to resize, you can see what is happening now. So it will automatically jump to something like this. Okay, so now it can if I begin to extend, it can now jump like this. Okay, in the main dashboard, because if you look at this guy now, you can see that the profile is on the top, not on the this profile status is on the top, but in this place the profile status is here. This is the screenshot now. So but now if we begin to resize our own like this, it can, whatever that is here can only go below what is here. So there's no way to make this one currently in Figma, there's no way to make this guy to be the first one unless we make it something like this, so which is not the way it is arranged in the profile, something like this. Okay, so but what we can do is to use a plugin. You can see that whenever I'm resizing this guy here, okay, this one does not move. This it doesn't resize. The header, sorry, the navigation bar and the top here does not move. So how do we make it responsive as well? So what we'll do now is to take this one like this and then set it to set the gap here to auto. Okay, it's already auto. Now if I select the main distance, all this while the one we've been resizing is this main one, but now if we select the main frame and resize like this, you can see as the inner one is responding, but the top nav part there is not responding. So what we'll do now is that if you select this one, we are going to use what we call constraints and begin to make them to resize. So what we'll do is this: if you select this one, for it to respond, we are going to come here. Maybe for some reason your own might look like this, the constraints might look like this. All you just have to do is to click on this icon here, and then you begin to see this horizontal and vertical constraint. So you select the horizontal constraint and set it to left plus right, like this. Now if you select the main frame and resize like this, you can see they are beginning to respond like that. Okay, I can see if your own is not behaving like mine, all you just have to do is to select this one and make sure that the gap between them is set to auto, and yeah, that is basically it. So the next one, for this, so if this one is not responding, all you can also do is to select it like this, and then set the constraint here to left plus right, so that it's going to be able to resize like that whenever you move the main frame like this. Okay, so I think that is basically it. So the next we'll do now is for it to be able to behave or to look like this whenever you resize, you're going to use a plugin called breakpoint. So what you do now is to select this guy here and duplicate like this. So whenever you are designing you're making a responsive design in Figma, there are basically ways you can use this pattern to be able to show to developer that whenever it is resized, this is where it's going to be. But the most efficient way is just for you to have multiple screen. You design the way the mobile view is going to be and the way the desktop and the tablet view is going to be. But for this professional dashboard, there's no one for mobile, it's only for tablet and desktop. So I will select this, I've duplicated this guy, I'll select this one right now and set the go to the frame and change it to something like a iPad Pro 12.9. so if I change it now, you can see all I can now do is to resize my frame to be able to get to the size that I want. Now you can see this one is not resizing very well. All I can do is to set it to fill container so that it will not be able to adjust as much as it's supposed to. So if I select the main guy here, I cannot be able to show how it's going to be. Now this one I can resize it a little bit more like this. Now this is me trying to design how it's supposed to look. So for this one, I'm going to take this guy and the font here should be 20, so it's going to be smaller, or 22 for now. And then I'm going to move this one to this area like this, and I'm going to make this edge like this. That is, the length should be longer this way. And I will take this one and move it to the top like this. So this is me trying to show developers this is the way it's going to look when it is resized. And this one I'm going to resize like this. I'll say I'm trying to tell the developer that once this thing is resized, it's going to look like this. Now for this man to be hidden, this text to be hidden, you just select this guy and then say clip content. Once you clip content, now the S is still showing. What I can use to hide that X is that this guy is not totally right. We have the gap between the text and the icon, so I can just increase this gap here forward so it will be hidden. Now this is me showing that this guy is for tablets, like if I write tablet like this, and this one is desktop side, a desktop view, so write desktop. So desktop tablet. So now what we can do is, how do we link them up so that whenever you resize like this, okay, it should be able to behave the way it's supposed to behave. Okay, I think this is the one we're working with. So whenever I resize like this, it should be able to behave like to adapt to this screen. So that is where this plugin comes in. All you just have to do now is to go to the action button and then bring up a plugin here called Breakpoint. This is a paid plugin, but in every design that you make, it will give you a 15 days free trial to be able to experiment, which is a pretty much a fair deal. So for this design, all I just have to do now, the way to use this plugin is to now I have this desktop and then the tablet. So the way you can be able to use this plugin is to have something like this. I'm moving this thing around. Click on continue like this. If this is the I think if this is the first time, you should just say start a new trial, a 15 days free trial. All right, now what we'll do here is this. We'll click on this one that said adaptive layout. Once you click on adaptive layout, the first thing you do is to the smaller side, you have to start from the smaller screen. Let's say you have desktop, tablet and mobile. So you start with the smaller screen. You start with mobile, okay, but now we just have tablet, right? So what you do is to select this guy and then take this the size of the width of the tablet. I press Ctrl+C to copy the width and come here to this one, and you can see this is more like from here to here. So from here to here, I will tell this guy that it is this size, okay, 2024. Now you can see I have said that this from here to here is going to be 24. Now I'm going to add another size, which is the desktop. So for the desktop, if I select the desktop screen, I can copy the width there, Ctrl+C, and select this guy and tell it that the desktop size is something like this, okay, 1728, and I'll click here to be able to match up to that size. So now what I just said is that from here to here is 1024 and from here to here is 1728. Okay, so now for me to be able to link these two together is the way to do it is to just select this one like this, select this guy and say I want to get this one like this. Okay, for me to link this one up, you select this guy and click here plus. When you click on that plus, it will say select the frame use as the master layout for just what he's trying to say is that select the frame that started from this extent to this extent, which is the smaller one, right? So you select it like that. You can see it has checked it, and then you go to the next one. You select this one again, okay, and then you click here plus to add, and then you select the desktop frame like this, okay, and it has applied it just like that. So you can increase the size like this, or you cannot do. All you just have to do now is that if you select this one and begin to resize like this, so once you get to this point, it will automatically change. So you don't need to worry anymore. You can say once you get to this point, it will automatically show you the size or the view that it has to be once it's on this side and something like that. So you drag like this, the way it behaves, it doesn't matter, it will just be adapting like that. Okay, So I think that is basically it for now. In the next section, we'll be designing something like this more. Okay, I think that is basically it. So if you enjoyed the class, please give a like and then share, and then as well subscribe. Okay, thank you, and see you in the next one.